Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Tej from Acceldata Academy and your host for today. So, on behalf of Acceldata, I'm thrilled to welcome you to this webinar focused on a topic that's becoming increasingly critical in the modern day data ecosystem: data reliability policies. So, in today's session, let's deep dive into how effective DR policies can help you and your teams proactively detect issues, minimize downtime, and maintain data quality across complex distributed systems. So, we have Krishnendu Sarkar, our solution consultant at Acceldata, who will bring you all the insights about the ADOC DR policies.
Thanks, Sage.
Okay, a quick note before we get started. So, we just encourage all of you to share your questions using the Zoom chat. So, we will try and accommodate all your questions. And in case by any chance any of your questions are not covered today, please feel free to use the discussion forum in our Accelerator Network portal. I will leave the link for the network portal in the chat for all of you to access it and explore the portal and even look up some of our product documents and get familiar with our product. So with that, I think we'll get started. Over to you, Krishnendu.
Thanks, Sage. Hello, everyone. This is Krishnendu here, and today we are going to. So today's agenda is basically like we have five topics to cover. So first is the data reliability overview. Second is types of data policies. Third is reconciliation policy. Fourth is schema drift policies, and at last we will go for a benefits of reconciliation and schema drift policies. And finally, we will take a Q&A once the session is ended, right? So let's start then. So what is So we are going to basically first going for a data reliability overview. Okay. So in data reliability, right? So we have multiple core compatibilities of Accelerator that we're basically having in Accelerator ADOC platforms. So a few are let's say accuracy, like which ensures the data values are correct and reflect real world conditions, helps prevent bad decisions caused by the invalid or unrealistic data. Then completeness, like checks if all and unnecessary data is present. No missing fields, records, or data sets. Incomplete data can disrupt reports and analytics, right? So then coming to the consistency, like make sure data stays the same across the systems and over the time, right? It helps avoid contradictions between sources and pipelines. Then coming to the uniformity, ensures consistency, formats, structures like data formats and column orders, right? Prevents error during the data ingestion and processing. Then coming to the relevance, let's say uh, uh, it verifies that the data supports business needs, irrelevant data wastes resources and add noise to the decision making, right? And at last, the timeliness, right? Tracks if data arrives on time and stays fresh. Delays can affect SLAs, reporting, and real-time insights, right? So this is all related to the core compatibilities of accelerator reliability. Next, coming to the benefits of using the accelerator reliability. So there are multiple things which we can which gives benefits to the customer. So first is, let's say, the trustworthy decision making, like high quality validated data gives teams the confidence to make informed, reliable decisions without second guessing the source, right? Another thing is automated monitoring with ADOC, once the data source is onboarded, it is automatically monitored for the issues like anomalies and performance drops. No manual checks needed, right? Third is seamless integrations, like clean, reliable data ensures system works well together, making integrations efforts smoother and analytics more effective, right? Uh, Fourth is risk management mitigations, by catching flawed or outdated data early. We reduce the chances of costly errors that could disrupt operations or decision makings. Fifth is governance and compliance. So, strong data quality helps maintain compliance, supports governance by keeping audit ready metrics easily accessible, right? And the last one is the data trust adoption. So, when user trusts the data, right, they are more likely to use the data driven tools and processes driving adoptions across organizations. So that's all from the data reliability overview pipe, like from side. Now coming to the types of data policies. So how many types of policies Acceldata is supporting right now? We will go through those things. Okay, so there are multiple policies which we accelerate in today's world, like in today's scenario, like we are supporting. The first we will go with the data quality policies. This policy checks the health of a single data set by validating things like null values, data types, regex patterns, etc. Second thing comes around the reconciliation policies used to compare two similar data sets. It will check if their structure values aligns using the profile and equality matches, right? Third is data drift policy, which tracks the changes in data over time if key metrics shift significantly, right? This policy highlights potential issues or trends. Now, coming to the schema drift policy, it detects any changes in the table structure like added or missing columns between past and current schema scans. And then coming to the data freshness policies, ensures data stays up to date by monitoring how frequently new data arrives. So between past and current schema, arrives. Now flagging any unexpected delays basically. So like you can detect the schema changes in early stages, right? So that like it will not fail your production related jobs as well. And the last one is the data anomaly policies, which identifies unusual patterns in data that may indicate errors, data corruption, or significant operational changes. So that's all from the data uh, types of data policies. So today in today's demo, like in today's webinar, we will be focusing on mostly reconciliation policies and schema drift policies. So let's start with the reconciliation policy. Yeah. So why reconciliation policies is matters, right? So as data moves from the source to sink, right, through pipelines or transformations, it can get lost, duplicated, or corrupted. So this makes reconciliation a critical safeguard. So a reconciliation policy checks both the source and the destination to make sure the data remains intact. It looks at the data integrity, schema, profile consistency, and highlights any mismatches. These checks helps ensure accurate analytics, reliable decision making, and efficient operations. Without reconciliation, data trust breaks down. So in ADOC, right, so you can set up reconciliation policies between assets of same type or those that can be profiled, making the process automated or scalable and consistent. So now let's look into that how many types of reconciliation match we can do in Excel data. So we have altogether three types of reconciliation match, like data equality match, hash data equality match, and row count match. So what is data equality match? So this method compares column by column values between source and sink. It's ideal for schema match exactly, and you need precise comparisons. So for that purpose, data equality match will be used. Hash data equality match, instead of comparing every column, this method hashes entire rows and compare those hash values with the sink. So it efficiently for larger data sets where full comparison are too costly, right? And the third one is the last one is the row count match. This is a quick way to detect major issues. It simply compares the number of rows between the source and the sink, helpful for spotting ingestion or let's say pipeline failure, right? So this is all related to the reconciliation policy. Now let's jump on to the schema drift policy. So why schema drift policies is required, right? So like schema drift policy, to is used basically to early detection, avoid pipeline failures, broken reports, and compliance risks. It helps keep data flow stable and business decision worthy, right? So as if you see that there are multiple ETL processes are there, reporting tools are there, machine learning pipelines, and data contract with consumers, right? So these things, it will be helpful for to resolve their issues if the schema drift policies are get implemented. Now the schema drift policies helpful in uh, identifying the data pipeline failures, business reporting errors, and compliance audit risks, right? So how schema drift policy works, right? In ADOC. So in ADOC, the schema drift policy automatically detects the schema changes by comparing the previous crawled schema with the most recent crawl of the same data source or table. So this allows the monitor schema evolution over time, get alerts on critical and unauthorized schemas, integrate with incident management workflows. So below are the some examples. Let's say that in transactional table, right? It is very important to monitor if there is any columns which are deleted intentionally or vice versa, right? The organization will receive notification on changes in schema if schema drift is enabled, right? The second example, let's say the in any banks, right? When for a customer transaction, let's say in uh, changes in the data schema, right? Such as like adding a customer loyalty tier column must be monitored. So with a schema drift policy in place, the bank receives alerts about the such changes, enabling data teams to update downstream processes like reporting and analytics. So that's all from the schema drift policy. Let's quickly jump onto the demo. So let me stop sharing. Uh, then we will jump onto the demo. Let me bring that slide. Yeah, just let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, Krishnendra, it's come up. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is an asset, this is the table in Excel data, and here we can see like what are the options we are having. So if you want to configure any schema drift policy, in that case, we have to go to the actions, and here the option is to basically select the schema drift policy. So once that you click on the schema drift policy, you have to click on you can select the edit metadata. So these alerts on column addition, on alerts on columns removals, and alerts on column metadata changes is by default enabled. If you want to add any additional metadatas, right? You can enable it from here. So these are the metadatas which we are basically supporting. So you can select and basically enable those things. Okay. So for now, let's say, uh, uh, let me cancel it. So what we can do, we can after that, like once you set this, right? So you can select the configure notification. Here you can set the let's say if the schema changes in this table, right? What type of notification you want to receive. So let's say there are multiple critical, high, medium, and low. So that those things we are supporting. So depending on your requirement, you can select those, right? And once that is done, right? So you can select the notification channels as well. And this is notify on success. Let's say if there is no changes also, like you want to notify yourself, then you can enable this. And this is on the notify on warning. So warning, let's say if the users will be get notified failed policy execution by default, right? And this is the reduce noise. So let's say if you don't want to get notified anytime, right, for this basically schema change, then you can just choose this. This is by default, but you can reduce the noise also. So let's say if any changes happens, and like you can send the notification in after two failures, or you can select the notify every time. So these are the settings we can set in the schema.policy level. Once that is done, like you can show summary, and then you can save it. That's it. So as we have already like a schema diff policy configured in this one, right? So this is the basically like the schema diff policy, which is uh, uh, already configured in this table. So let's say if you see there are multiple runs of the schema drift policy. So you can compare the like those changes also. Like let's say if I compare with the first one and the last one, if you see here, right? So this is the like two editions on this date after this date. So on 25th March, these two columns were not present. But right now, if you see on 18th of July, like 2024, these two columns get added. So these how basically like these things you can identify using the schema drift policies. Now, going to the let's say let's explore the reconciliation policy. So if we want to like configure the reconciliation policies, we need to come to the manage policy sections, and here we can add reconciliation policy. If you see here, once you click on this, you need to select the data source. So let's say uh, this one. So let me select the database. Okay. So let me compare these two. So I will put this one as source. Then I click on next. Then I need to select the sync as well. You can select the same data source, or else you can select the different data source. So for now, like let's say I am selecting the same data source only under that, but I will select the different table itself. So let's say I will select the Castle 10D. Once that is done, so if you see, this is the Castle 10 is the source one, and this is the 10D. This is the sync one, right? And then now we have three options, as I mentioned. This is data equality, data equality, and row match. So when you click on data equality and configure processing, we have some like SQL filters to filter down your data depending on your requirement. Like if you want to filter down your data by country, right? Let's say country equals to India. So in that case, you can narrow down your data. Depending on that, you can basically filter down your data, and on top of the filter data, you will apply the reconciliation checks, right? So like for now, like I'm not going to put any filters. Like we can just click on the configure rules. So here we can add rule. When you click on this, we have multiple fields if you here. So this is coming from the source asset. So let's say I'm selecting this one. So we have multiple operators like equal, not equal, greater than, these things, right? And let's put the equal one only. And this is the like target column in the target source. So we require at least one join column through which basically it will join the two tables and basically comparing the values. So we can click on this, and we also have other options like ignore null values. We want to check this one as well, and also like include in quality score. So if you want to include this column to participate in the quality score as well, you can add this. So then we can put the action like add. Again, we can add multiple columns, right? So let's say equality 5, this one. Here, no need to join. If you want to join multiple columns, you can do that. So we are allowing like multiple joins as well. So like that, you can configure these multiple columns here. Now configure the schedule and incremental checks. So we support like a policy increment, check the policy like incrementally. Once you enable this, right, we have three options like ID, date, time, and partition based. Depending on that, you can basically setting the like column on top of which column basically it will do the incremental check. And we have some initial offset set. So basically, if you want to, if you set this initial offset, it will start from there. Else, it will start from the like starting point. So from the next time, like it will do a like it will put a checkpoint, and next time when it will run, right, it will start from this that checkpoint. Once that is done, so schedule this policy execution. Also, one option is there, so you can schedule this policy so that like no need to manually run these policies. You can schedule it depending on your time or zone. and you can add multiple hours as well. So depending on that, you can configure these things. Once that is done, you can set the notification channels like how basically we did in the schema drift policy, right? So once that is done, we can configure advanced policies. So this is like a resource strategy. So how much resources basically it is consuming this policy, right? You can override these things by like, let's say, changing this resource strategies, or you can put some custom strategies as well. So like how basically you can utilize those things, right? And this is basically you are saving the good records and bad records. So we are enabling this to basically persist those good and bad records depending on the failed rows and like past good rows, right? And this is persistent folder prefix, like where basically we are saving, we can prefix that folder, right? And this is persisted columns. So all the columns will be selected here. So, but you can select, deselect as well. So if you don't want to persist all the columns, you can deselect those things as well, if required, right? Now, run timeout is basically you are configuring the this when this policy runs, right? At that time, it is running for some time. So, like let's say you can if you configure five minutes here, right? So policy will run if the policy didn't finish in 5 minutes, then the policy will time out. So for that purpose, we are putting these values and total timeout. Let's say you have multiple policies executed, right? But due to the resource constraints, the policies are in queued. So let's say if you have put 30 minutes, so this is the total timeout. So let's say out of 30 minutes, this policy, when this job, right, when the policy runs, it ran some jobs, right? These jobs basically in queued state for 20 minutes. And after that, it started. So these 20 minutes plus the run time for the policy to run. So let's say 5 minutes policy uh, has taken to finish it, right? So total 25 minutes it will count. So if something like go beyond the 30 minutes, right, it will time out the policies. And this is a data plane which basically we are using to run the jobs. The data plane is nothing but like where basically we are processing the jobs, right? Once everything is done, we can select view summary and you can name the policy, you can add policy groups, labels, and tags, and you can save the policy, right? So this is all related to the data equality match. But let's say if you want to like configure the hashed equality, right? So same like on data equality, you can configure these things. You can add multiple things, but it will only like use the hash value of the these columns, and then it will compare those, right? The same like these things, like the equality check, you can configure these things and add it, right? That's it. So this is all from the hashed equality. And now coming to the row match count. So this is only checking the row counts from the both sides. So let's say you have in the left side six rows. Sorry, 6 rows, right? Yeah. So in that case, it will match it with the right source. If that is also having 6 rows, then it will consider it as a pass or it will fail. So here we are not selecting any columns. Only just we are putting the configuring schedules and notification channels, those things only. We are not selecting any columns here. So once that is done, we can view and save the policies. So we have already pre-configured policies. Like this is a reconciliation on top of these two tables only, where basically we have configured the equality match. So if you see equality match is there, right? So there are two rules. So on top of these two, so we have on top of these 2 rows, we have configured these row match, right? So it has passed hundreds of percent. So that like it doesn't have any data violations. But yeah. So from here, basically you can see like, okay, oh sorry, 1 second. I think like it get timed out. One minute. Sorry, 1 second. Just checking this. It doesn't have anything. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah. Yeah. So here you can see like where the good records and bad records are. So once you click on this, right, it will copy the path. So if you can basically put it there, you can see like where the path is. Basically, we are saving these results, right? These are the complete path. Okay. So yeah, that's all from the like demo perspective, right? Let me reshare the screen once. 1 second. Just let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, Krishnendu, the demo page is on.
Yeah. Okay, so just now we have completed the demo. Now let's go through the benefits of the reconciliation and the schema drift policies. First, so let's cover the benefits of the schema drift policies, right? So the benefits are basically the early detection of schema changes. So automated detects changes such as addition, deletion, or renaming of columns, changes in data types, and you can use like multiple metadata as well. So which basically reduce the pipeline failures, like and generate the alerts on the data teams for the data teams before a schema changes, right? And it helps avoid running errors in production by catching schema drift in staging or dev environments, right? And so these are the proactive alerts notifications we are getting and improved, which basically improving your data observability, right? Provides visibility into how and when schema changes across data sets and tables, right? By enabling like a historical tracking of schema evaluations for audits and governance purposes. Okay. Now, we're going for to the like benefits of the reconciliation policies, which basically detects the data mismatches across the systems. Like a reconciliation policy, it compares the data sets between source and target, like SAP HANA, and between SAP HANA and BigQuery, Redshift, MySQL, right? And it validates data movement across the pipelines as well, so that like it ensures that the data moved from one system to another matches exactly in row counts, checksum, or let's say column level values, right? So that like uh, it detects the silent data losses due to the failed jobs or truncations or ETL bugs, right? Which reduces the business risk by inconsistent data, right? And proactive only monitoring alerts, like how basically we are doing for the schema drift as well, right? And enable automated data quality workflows, like policies can be integrated into the CI/CD orchestration tools like Airflow, right, for automated data quality checks. Yeah, that's all from the schema drift and reconciliation purpose. If you have any Q&A, like you can ask me, like, we can take questions. That's it. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Krishnendu. And just to let everyone know, I have pasted the link to our Axel Data Community Support portal. Please feel free to connect with us through the portal via the discussion forum. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.